Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us, coming to you from Washington's premier indoor shooting facility. Of course, that's Security Gun Club right here in Woodinville, Washington. We're going to be shooting from this facility all week this week. Why is that? Well, Washington Gun Law is transitioning to a new studio. That's right, something much more akin to a real studio. So we'll be able to get you some better quality videos moving forward. Massachusetts, we got to talk. Okay, as you know, your governor signed a massive piece of gun control legislation, and I have had an opportunity to weed through all 116 pages of it. And while Massachusetts may have been the birthplace of our revolution and liberty, it certainly is not a place where liberty exists anymore. Your governor has already signed this bill. It has many of your heads spinning because it's 116 pages of a big, gigantic word salad. What does it all mean to you? Well, we're going to actually break it down, geek out on it, and get you educated today. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about Massachusetts' massive gun control bill. Okay, here's what we're talking about. We're talking about Massachusetts House Bill 4885, now signed into law by Governor Maura Healey. This is it right here. Yes, I have had a chance to go through all of it, Massachusetts. It is 116 pages of civilian disarmament legislation. What does it do? The good news, Massachusetts, is because you are already living under the tyranny of horrific gun control legislation, it doesn't do a whole lot more because there really wasn't many civil liberties to strip you of. But that being said, it does change things. And we're going to go through and give you some of the highlights so you can understand what's different today about your life in Massachusetts than last week. Now, interestingly, even though this was meant to be a Bruin response bill, and for those of you who've been geeking out on Massachusetts legislation, you know that some version of this bill had kicked around now for a couple of years and gone nowhere. This bill really doesn't turn out to be this big Bruin response bill, which is we're going to make the whole state of Massachusetts one gigantic gun-free zone. Rather, this just turns out to be a huge grab bag of wish list, if you would, of all of the pet projects that we typically see from liberal gun-grabbing state legislatures. Okay, the first thing, a new assault weapon ban. It's not really new, it's just a new way of describing it. Massachusetts has been living under an assault weapon ban for a number of years. What this legislation did was basically strike all of the definitions that the state may have used to describe an assault weapon. And what you'd seen was this tapestry of different descriptions that have been added with various amendments to the law. And they've gone basically just to the single feature or double feature test. What that essentially is that we're going to describe a firearm that accepts a detachable magazine as a center-fire semi-automatic rifle, and then if it has any one of the following components, it then constitutes an unlawful assault weapon. The statute, now enacted into law, reads as follows. Assault-style firearm is any firearm which is a semi-automatic center-fire rifle with the capacity to accept a detachable feeding device and includes at least two of the following features. Okay, so if it has any two of these features, which it will, it now is going to be considered an assault-style firearm. And they include 1, a folding or telescoping stock. 2, a thumb hole stock or pistol grip. 3, a forward grip or second hand grip or protruding grip that can be held by the non-trigger hand. 4, a threaded barrel designed to accommodate a flash suppressor or muzzle brake or similar feature. Or 5, a shroud that encircles either all or part of the barrel, designed to shield the bearer's hand from the heat, excluding the slide that encloses the barrel. Literally cut and pasted from Washington's law, which of course was cut and pasted from California's law. Pistols, however, are also now included in this. They probably previously were. An assault-style pistol is now described under Massachusetts law as a semi-automatic pistol with the capacity to accept a detachable feeding device and includes at least two of the following features. Okay, any two of these and we got ourselves an unlawful pistol now. 1, the capacity to accept a feeding device that attaches to the pistol outside of the pistol grip. 2, a second hand grip or a protruding grip that can be held by the non-trigger hand. 3, a threaded barrel capable of accepting a flash suppressor, forward hand grip, or silencer. Or 4, a shroud that encircles either all or a part of the barrel designed to shield the bearer's hand from the heat, excluding a slide that encloses the barrel. Oh, but there's more, because there are shotguns. And interestingly, what I noticed Massachusetts is they're defining this by semi-automatic shotgun. In my state, it's a semi-automatic shotgun that also has a pistol grip to it, so more of the tactical style shotguns. I guess Massachusetts knows better, because they now will ban shotguns, which a semi-automatic shotgun that includes at least 2 of the following features. 1, a folding or telescoping stock. 2, a thumb hole stock or a pistol grip. 3, a protruding grip for the non-trigger hand. Or 4, the capacity to accept a detachable feeding device. So any semi-automatic shotgun which accepts a detachable magazine is no bueno under this law. Now, many of you may actually own all of these firearms. There is a grandfathering provision. That grandfathering provision is today. If you own the firearm prior to today, August 1st, 2024, then congratulations. So long as you register it with the state, not that gun registries are unconstitutional or anything like that, but as long as you register that firearm with the state, then the state will allow you to keep your firearm. Very generous of them. Okay, new sensitive places. Now, they said this was going to be a Bruin response bill, and if you take a look at like what happened with the New York Concealed Carry Improvement Act, you take a look at California with Senate Bill 2, you will see that the state legislature there did in fact make the entire state one big gigantic sensitive area. However, Massachusetts, for whatever reason, did not do that. There are new sensitive places, or what I like to call gun-free zones, and they now include the following under this piece of legislation: state, county, and municipal government property, as well as 150 feet of any polling location. And that really is about it as it relates to new sensitive places. Now, there is, though, in the same couple of sections of the legislation, all new training requirements. So, if you want to get a license to possess a firearm, or you want to actually try to get a license to conceal carry a firearm in the state of Massachusetts, good luck to you on that. Yeah, there are all new training requirements. And in order for you to be eligible to even apply for that license, the training will have to include all of the following: the safe use, handling, and storage of firearms, methods for securing and child-proofing firearms, the applicable laws related to the possession of firearms, transportation and storage of firearms, knowledge of operation, potential dangers, and basic competency in the ownership and use of firearms, injury and suicide prevention and harm reduction education, applicable laws relating to the use of force, disengagement tactics, and live fire training. So Massachusetts, you are joining the club now where you are going to have to actually do live fire training. Now, we here at Washington Gun Law, we preach all the time about lawful and responsible gun ownership. There is no such thing as too much training. However, we don't have to train to vote, and unfortunately many Americans probably should. We don't have to train to go to church. We don't have to train to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures. We don't have to train to be free from cruel and unusual punishment. So you can begin to see how the Second Amendment truly is that disfavored right. If you already have a valid concealed pistol license in the state of Massachusetts prior to August 1st of 2024, you are grandfathered in. You will not need to do any of this new stuff until you are up for a renewal of that license. Ghost gun bans. That's what the state of Massachusetts like to call them. We like to call them untraceable firearms here at Washington Gun Law. There is a whole new slew of laws in Massachusetts. This is important. If you happen to have a firearm, which is an unserialized firearm, you will be able to keep it so long as you serialize that firearm. And that's something you need to be aware of. Now, speaking of manufacturing firearms, you can continue to manufacture firearms in the state of Massachusetts so long as the firearm is not an assault-style firearm and you serialize it and have the firearm registered with the Department of Justice Criminal Information Services in the state of Massachusetts within 7 days of the manufacturing of that firearm. Massachusetts, you cannot use a 3D printer or a CNC machine to manufacture any firearm or firearm component unless you are also in possession of a valid concealed carry license granted to you by the state of Massachusetts. Theoretically, this law also bans the sale of any 3D printers or CNC machines in which the primary purpose will be to manufacture firearm parts. How the state of Massachusetts intends on enforcing or even interpreting this law is anyone's guess. Machine gun restrictions. Well, machine guns have been restricted on the federal level for quite some time. What am I talking about here in Massachusetts? They have clearly gone out and broadened the definition of what constitutes a machine gun. And Massachusetts, this is important. It is not only based on the function of the trigger, it is also based on the rate of fire. And for that reason, Washington gun law would say that bump stocks, force reset triggers, wide open triggers, hellfire triggers, trigger cranks, anything of that nature is absolutely positively banned by House Bill 4885, now enacted into law. Expansion of red flag laws. Yeah, this is a big one, which is how can we disarm more and more lawful and responsible Massachusetts residents? Now, old law said that the only people who could actually petition for an extreme risk protection order, what we call red flag laws, are household members and law enforcement. 4885, enacted into legislation, greatly expands who can actually petition for an extreme risk protection order. And the new individuals now include licensed physicians, registered nurses, licensed practical nurses, certified nurse practitioners, certified clinical nurse specialists, certified psychiatric clinical nurse specialists, licensed psychiatrists, licensed psychologists, licensed mental health counselors, licensed marriage and family therapists, licensed independent clinical social workers, licensed certified social workers, a principal or assistant principal of an elementary school or secondary school, and the administrators of a college or university where the respondent is enrolled. Now, question that was asked actually by Tom here at Security Gun Club is that any nurse practitioner, any medical professional whatsoever? What about if you have a neighbor that's ticked off? No, the statute actually requires that they have treated you in the last 6 months. Okay, and then finally, and this is something we're going to clearly follow up on because it appears that maybe Massachusetts will be the first state to go down this avenue of stupidity, but they are appointing a 13-person commission to study the use of both micro-stamping and smart guns and whether or not those should become mandatory as early as next year in the state of Massachusetts. Listen, like I say, it's 116 pages. We're going to go ahead and link it up down below, so if some of you are having a hard time sleeping tonight, that should be able to help you out. The House bill again is 4885. It is signed into law. Most of it goes into effect today, August 1st, 2024. Massachusetts, congratulations. The lawsuits will certainly and inevitably start dropping here soon. There will be various portions of this bill that I believe are highly susceptible to constitutional challenges, so this is not the last we're going to talk about it. If you've got any questions, though, about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now, but if you don't, that's okay. That information's down there in the description box. Maybe you got an idea for a video we should be doing here. If you do, go ahead and click on that link right there, or maybe you just want to be part of our newsletter. If you do, hey, you can subscribe by clicking on the link down below in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, let's everyone remember that part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.